Today, our focus is on the terrible King Leopold II of Belgium and his brutal reign as we dig into the extremely dark history of European colonization in Africa. This story is marked by exploitation, greed, and inhumanity, leaving a chilling influence that lingers to this day. During King Leopold's rule, the Congo Free State turned into a terrible place for the locals. Many Congolese were forced to work in harsh camps, and those who resisted or couldn't comply with the king's demands were hurt or killed. Over the Congo Free State is the story of a king consumed by an insatiable hunger for power and wealth who saw an entire nation as nothing more than a resource to exploit. While Leopold was in control, the exploitation was so severe that the Congo's population decreased from 20 million to 10 million. Surprisingly few people are aware of this terrible period in history. Many people are unfamiliar with King Leopold II and the horrific things he did in the Congo, making it difficult for them to comprehend the horrors of his leadership there. The story begins in the late 19th century, when European powers entered the picture. Beginning in the late 19th century, when European nations hurried to dominate Africa, they exploited its resources and people for their own ends. King Leopold II, smart and ambitious, King Leopold II of Belgium wanted Belgium to establish a colony like other European nations. He regarded this as an opportunity to increase his own money and influence. Leopold had deep-seated racist beliefs, viewing black people as inferior to white people, and he thought that Africans couldn't govern themselves and needed European guidance to advance. He was also a cunning businessman who saw great potential in exploiting Africa's natural resources for enormous wealth. It was justified by this racist mindset to brutally exploit the Congo and its people. Leopold chose the Congo, a wide area in Central Africa, because it contained a wealth of natural riches, including minerals, rubber, and ivory. He established the International African Association in the Congo in 1876 with the intention of advancing both scientific and humanitarian endeavors in Africa. Leopold hired the explorer Henry Morton Stanley in 1879 to explore and map the Congo River basin with the intention of establishing Belgian control over the region. Stanley made agreements with local chiefs, supposedly for trade and alliances, but in reality, his true intentions were purely economic. He used this association to advance his plans for colonial expansion in the Congo. In the heart of Africa, Leopold founded a colony in 1885 that covered more than 900,000 square miles. The king claimed the Congo Basin as his private estate rather than a Belgian colony, and he gave it the misleading name of the Congo Free State because the residents were far from being free. During his reign, Leopold administered this realm as his own property, with the Congolese people as his subjects. Millions of Congolese were made slaves, tortured, and died during the cruel reign of terror that followed. During Leopold's leadership, the Congolese people were subjected to extreme violence, forced labor, and systematic exploitation. Leopold's cruelty extended beyond the rubber trade. He also forced the Congolese to mine for copper and diamonds, while the profits from these resources filled his own coffers. His main focus was the rubber trade, and he forced the Congo to labor on rubber plantations under abhorrent conditions. Those who didn't meet their daily rubber quotas faced beatings, mutilation, and even death. But Leopold's cruelty extended beyond the rubber trade. The agony and poverty experienced by Congolese people were extreme. The forced labor of the Congolese on building projects like the Matadi-Kinshasa Railway resulted in thousands of deaths from disease, malnutrition, and hazardous working conditions. To impose his rule and maintain control over the Congolese population, Leopold used a private army that was notorious for its cruelty and committed atrocious acts of violence against men, women, and children. Leopold's operatives employed a variety of strategies. To the Congolese people are terrorized and oppressed, and those who failed to satisfy quotas had their hands severed. They underwent abhorrent pain and persecution. In fact, some agents held family members hostage until the quota was met. They also incited ethnic tensions that made the area more insecure and frightened. The reputation of the Congo Free State as a land of unfathomable suffering emerged. The Congo Reform Association was founded as a group of activists that fought to halt the atrocities in the Congo. Despite the atrocities, as news of the atrocities done during Leopold's rule spread to Europe and the United States, provoking indignation and condemnation. Leopold attempted to justify his actions by portraying himself as a compassionate ruler who was bringing progress and civilization to a supposedly backward and uncivilized people. He claimed that his rule was necessary to bring order and stability to the area and protect the Congolese from what he claimed was other African tribes' savagery. However, these justifications were nothing more than thinly veiled cover for the exploitation and oppression that actually took place under his rule. When the villagers couldn't meet his agents' demands for an impossible amount of rubber, 3,000 kilograms, the agents attacked the village, killing over 300 people, including women and children. They even severed the dead's hands and made the survivors carry them as evidence of the killings. It was a terrible and horrifying event. The brutality of Leopold's policies in the Congo was so extreme that it is estimated that up to 10 million people perished as a result of his policies. In addition to using violence and exploitation, Leopold's agents introduced diseases like smallpox and sleeping sickness, which caused a significant loss of life in the population. They also destroyed the social and economic structure of Congolese society by eradicating cultural traditions and compelling people to give up their way of life. Fortunately, this startling figure corresponded to about half of the Congo's population at the time. Edmund Morel, a journalist, and Roger Casement, a missionary, both displayed courage by exposing the horrors of the Congo Free State. These campaigns increased public awareness of the crimes that eventually led to the overthrow of King Leopold. While working for a trading company in Liverpool, Edmund Morel, a British shipping clerk, learned about the exploitation in the Congo. He noticed that ships were arriving in Liverpool loaded with ivory and rubber, but weren't returning to Africa with any goods, which led him to suspect that the ships might be transporting slaves. In order to campaign for change and increase awareness of the issue, Morel created the Congo Reform Association in 1904 after learning that the ships were actually transporting ivory and rubber that had been produced via forced labor. The work of Morel was essential in shifting public sentiment against Leopold and his government. In 1901, an Irish nationalist named Roger Casement, who had previously worked for the British government, was named the British consul for the Congo Free State. Casement's investigation revealed extensive evidence of torture, mutilation, and murder in the Congo. He documented all of his findings in a report known as the Casement Report, which provided a grim account of the horrific living and working conditions forced upon the Congolese people. It was his responsibility to look into allegations of human rights abuses in the area. What he uncovered during his investigation was truly shocking. Casement's study highlighted the situation in the Congo, which prompted the British government to intervene in 1908. Leopold's control over the Congo Free State ended, and Belgium took over the administration of the colony as a result of the international conference they called in Brussels to determine the future of the Congo. This transformation took place in part as a result of the widespread indignation caused by the discovery of crimes. The Congolese people suffered even under Belgian colonial control, and it wasn't until the middle of the 20th century that they finally won independence to experience freedom. Congolese activists put up a valiant fight, against injustice and enslavement. Simon Kimbangu, a Christian preacher who founded the Kimbankwist Church in the early 20th century, was one of the most prominent activists. He preached against the oppression the Congolese people endured, but his efforts resulted in his arrest and imprisonment by the colonial authorities. Tragically, he passed away in prison at the age of 51. Despite the difficulties and sacrifices, the persistence of Congolese activists eventually helped the country achieve independence. Lumumba was a well-known anti-colonial activist who was democratically chosen as the first prime minister of the independent Congo. Despite his brief time in office, Lumumba's legacy endures as a leader who fiercely fought for the rights of the Congolese people. He is still remembered today and honored as a hero, not only in Congo but also across Africa for HSI role in the liberation of the Congo. Leopold was known for his extravagant lifestyle, love of luxury, and fixation with power. He also had a charming demeanor, wit, and intelligence, which he exploited to win the support of powerful people in Belgium and elsewhere. Leopold's leadership was a combination of ambition and cruelty. The legacy of Leopold in Belgium is complicated. On the one hand, he is remembered as a visionary leader who made Belgium a modern, industrialized nation and played a significant role in fostering economic development by expanding the railway network and modernizing the country's infrastructure. On the other hand, his rule in the Congo and the atrocities committed during that time tarnish his legacy and are a sordid stain on his rule. Because of his role in the Congo, Leopold's legacy has been marred. The brutality with which his government treated the Congolese people has drawn harsh criticism, and many people have compared his conduct to acts of genocide. His quest for wealth and power resulted in the deaths of millions of Congolese, creating untold misery and being exploited. The magnitude of this tragedy is staggering, with millions of people dying from direct violence, starvation, or disease. It serves as a tragic reminder of the atrocities committed under Leopold's rule. Despite the terrible toll on human life, Leopold was able to hold on to power and portray himself as a force for civilization in Africa. However, we must not ignore the tenacity and bravery of the Congolese people who resisted and battled this brutal colonial. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more compelling melanin-rich content. Peace.